everyone, welcome back to another day of tracheostomy awareness. So today I wanted to show you what I have to bring out with Hannah every time we go out. Every time we get out of the car, every time we go into a store, every time we go to the park, every time we go for a walk, everywhere Hannah goes, these bags have to go with her. So one is the suction machine, which I have showed you in a previous video. If you want to know more about the suction machine, please go check out that video. So this has to come with her everywhere, as well as this bag. And this bag has everything you could possibly need for an emergency situation with Hannah, and I'm just going to quickly go over everything that's in this bag. In the back of this bag, there's a list of all the supplies that should be in this bag, and emergency phone numbers, when she gets her meds, and what her meds are, and I think there's a letter that we're supposed to give to Emerge every time we go in there, which just says that quick little thing of what Hannah's history is, and that every time she comes into Emerge, you're supposed to be calling Victoria or Children's, and that you're not supposed to just send her home without checking. And that's because they're not properly trained, so they think they know what they're doing, but they don't. In the back of this bag at the top, we have 2 trachs, and this is in case we have to do an emergency trach change. And the top one is just a 4 cuffed, and then this is a 4 cuffless, so they're not much of a difference, but we would start off by using the cuff trach, and then if we couldn't get that in, we would use the cuffless. And there's also a cuff repair kit. You don't know what a lot of these things are, but I'm just going to quickly show you what all the supplies are. Next we have all her puffers, and I have everything in individual bags, so it's just easier to grab things. You're not searching through a bunch of stuff. So this is just attaches to the ventilator, or you can give the puffers without attaching to the vent. And then here are just her puffers. But next we have doctor's order sheets. So every time we go into Emerge or walk in, which we hardly ever go into walk in, anytime a doctor wants you to give a diaper rash cream, a prescription, anything, a doctor has to write on this so that the nurses are allowed to do that, because the nurses aren't allowed to do anything without a doctor's permission. And then we have diapers and wipes, and we have a huge thing of diaper rash cream because Hannah always has diaper rash and some more diaper rash. And seriously, this kid needs a lot of diapers when you go out. Next we just have a spare change of clothes because Hannah is always having poo explosions or puking on herself, and it's always in the most inconvenient time, so it's important that we always have a spare change of clothes with her. Now this isn't life or death, but you might as well have this in the bag. Next, we have a very unorganized looking bag of a manual section, which if you have watched my suction video, I went over how you use a manual section. There's some Foley catheters in case of her G-tube were to fall out and we didn't have a spare G-tube. There's some Foley catheters. And then there's just a bunch of regular suction catheters, because if some reason you went out and you didn't have a catheter with a suction machine, or you lost them, or they dropped in water, or I don't know. For some reason, if you didn't have suction catheters, you have some. Next, we have card chargers for both the ventilator and for the suction machine, which I always forget that we have in here, but we do have card chargers. Next, we have a resuscitation bag. And I hope we never have to use this bag. And then we just have a flashlight. And I just recently put this in here, but it's nice. It's one of those really bright LED ones, in case if the power went out when you're out, or if you went somewhere and it was dark, or even if the power went out here. It's also nice because you can put it on your head. So it's hard to hold a flashlight in suction or do an emergency trach change or whatever the thing is that you need a flashlight for, but it's here. So in the middle compartment, we just keep a bag of HMEs. So there's a couple kinds of HMEs. This is the ventilator filter. This is an HME that goes in line with the vent, and this just goes onto the trach. Next, we have a bag with a sat monitor. So this would just go on her foot, and there's so many times that we forget one, or it stops working, or the ambulance doesn't have one, or whatever the reason is, and we actually have 2 in here. And then this just connects oxygen tubing, so I don't really know why we have an emergency bag, but we do. And then there's some Coban, and this just holds the sat monitors onto her foot. So does this little foot posy. And then we have some duct tape in case if when we're out, ventilator tubing somehow got a hole in it or something, you can just duct tape it and then it's like a quick little patch. Next we have scissors, we have this Comfeel stuff, which I don't really think that we needed in the emergency bag, and then we just have a pair of tweezers. Then we have syringes in case if we go out and forgot to bring these. So many times we go into Emerge and we forget syringes, but we bring the meds, and then Emerge doesn't have the proper syringes. They have the Lure Lock syringes, which if you don't know anything medical, you don't know what I'm talking about, but they're just not the right syringes. Then we have some gloves. That's it for the middle pouch. So in the bottom pouch, we have some stuff for trach ties. So that's nystatin cream, some Q-tips, more nystatin cream. We have some hydrocortisone cream. We have some more saline bullets. I showed you in the suction machine video if you watched that. You need it to wet down the gauze or to drop into the trach if there's dry secretions. And then we have some gauze, we have some trach ties. And so next we just have some adult Tylenol because I have to carry this for a big run too, and I get a headache or cramps or whatever whenever we go to the hospital, so I always keep this in here because it's way cheaper than having to buy some from the gift shop. So we have some of that in here. We have some hand sanitizer. We keep Hannah's care card in there because a lot of the time I forget my wallet or whatever reason, so it just makes sense to have an emergency bag because everywhere Hannah goes, the emergency bag goes, and what about if I'm at home and Hannah has to go to the hospital, then they just have the care card. We have some child Tylenol because you never know when Hannah's going to spike a fever. And we have some Band-Aids, childproof safety pin, and then a trach wedge. So if the ventilator got sucked onto the trach, you would use this wedge to pry it off, and that happens a lot. So you definitely need a trach wedge in your emergency bag. And that's it for this video. It's hard to believe that this little small piece of plastic makes me have to carry around this huge bag of stuff and that suction machine. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please remember to give it a thumbs up if you did. Also, if you could share a video of mine for Tracheostomy Awareness Week, or if you could share a picture on my Facebook or share a Facebook page, do something to raise tracheostomy awareness. I would be very grateful. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye. That's it.